and welcome to Blockleaders.io with me, Gillian Gottsell. Today I'm delighted to welcome as my guest Jesse Reich, who is the founder and CEO of Splinterlands. You're very welcome to the show. Good morning.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
No, this is so cool. Now, we were just discussing, you have a nickname, your AGRODE is your nickname, and you're explaining to me what that means. It's a gaming term.
Sure. The verb is to aggro, and the past tense is agrode. It's mostly out of the World of Warcraft term because I played that game for a decade. And it means like if you attack a monster or if you get in its space, you aggro it. And agrode is just evidence that my space has been invaded, or sometimes I invade the space. So it's a gamer term, and that's
kind of stuck.
Yeah, kind of stuck, and so that's my pseudonym when I'm hanging out in the crypto space and gaming space.
So you've always been a gamer, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, those kinds of nerdy board games and card games were my bread and butter.
I remember years ago I played. Do you remember Space Quest and Police Quest?
A little bit, yeah.
It's a long time ago, and I remember I lost weekends because you'd walk into a room and you'd click something and something would open up. This is like 30 years ago, so it was like really very exciting. Yeah. And after that, I said, I got hooked on them. I said, I'm never going to game again because I just lost weekends. So I go, oh, it's Monday. It's work again. What happened to my weekend? So do you find as a gamer, I often find it's interesting, like how much time do you play games?
Well, recently, not much. I mean, it's
because you're a grown up.
Yeah, I mean, kids, family, but it's mostly the business. I mean, I run Splinterlands, and as much as I love Splinterlands and think it's this like really fun game, it's also hard to set aside time to be able to go play it as much as I would like. So I buy cards, I collect cards, and I enjoy sort of renting cards because I think it's actually pretty democratic to own something expensive and allow it to be rented out to the people that may not be able to afford that main thing. But yeah, I don't have nearly enough time to play like any games. It's just it's a lot of work.
You're an entrepreneur. It's hard. One of the stats you sent over to me was that 66% of the US population of 12-year-olds and up are all gamers. That's a huge percentage. I had no idea it was quite so large.
Yeah, it's massive. And a lot of that is mobile gaming, and we have our mobile app is coming out shortly. But to me, my partner Matt and I love crypto. I'm more the sales and marketing side, and he's the dev that leads this project. But both of us just love crypto, and we recognize that if we want people to come here, there might be a lot of money that comes just to go speculate on tokens and cryptos and prices. But I think it's going to be difficult for that to be the main appeal that brings people into the space. Whereas something like gaming is just so much more tangible and relatable for your average person. So if we want to mainstream crypto, which is one of the main goals of this project, we're going to have to go build a fun experience that kind of captures people's attention here. And that's why we went with a game rather than just another financial product.
Oh, it's cool because I was reading through your information you sent to me, and it's like the gamers don't really know there's no crypto. They don't have to put up a wallet. They have a human-friendly wallet, so the actual onboarding is much simpler, and so it's suited to gamers as opposed to crypto people.
Yeah, we've done everything we can to make it so that you don't have to own crypto first. So you can come here as a total noob to crypto, and just sign up with a username and password. And underneath the hood of that, we do actually create a blockchain account, and you are posting transactions on blockchain. But for the people that don't quite get that, we try our best to make it invisible. And then when they get more comfortable, maybe they have a couple $100 in cards or something, and then that paranoia kicks in of like, oh, somebody else has my keys. All right, then we help them with the key management. They request their keys. They can go do whatever they want. But we try to bridge that gap for, yes, we want new players. Yes, we try to make it easy. Yes, we'll manage your keys up until you don't want us to, and then you have full access.
I think that makes a great deal of sense because I know I'm in the space about 3 years now, and as a journalist and mad, crazy, passionate woman about this whole area and what it can do for humanity, I love it. But private keys, oh, they scare me. Yeah, and I'm right. I'm deep in the belly of the beast. You know, I'm in here, and I adore this whole sector. But I think when it comes to the practicalities, I've become a bit of a Luddite. So I can see why the way you onboard your players is much better. Now, you yourself, Jesse, very interesting background. I was reading your bio. You studied theatre, chemistry, and education.
Yeah.
That's an unusual trinity.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I'm a PhD chemist. I taught chemistry as a professor, and then I started using software to go help my students learn. I told the publishing company how much it was helping my kids, and they said, well, okay, why don't we hire you and you can go tell other professors. And that launched a 10-year sales career for me, where I managed sales for big corporations of this software product up and down the East Coast, which was really a combination of theater, the performance of that, education, both for the students, but also the teaching aspect, and chemistry. It was like a beautiful mix of all three of those. And now, you know, teaching chemistry and teaching blockchain, I swear, they're really not that different. They're these big, complicated systems that you have to break down into bite-sized pieces. And I have to do a lot to go help people understand that. So I spend, Nick, sorry for some updates, so many noises. So I do my best to really try to help people and learn about this space and make something that feels so abstract and so unfamiliar be something that, oh, I get that, I can see that. And so that background of teaching and doing, you know, virtual sales presentations and in-person, you know, software presentations, this is what I've been doing for the last decade. And so it's surprisingly a good fit for blockchain to having come the road that I did.
And did you ever pace the boards? Were you ever an actor as well with the theater?
Only back, yeah, like back in school. I liked more of like the screenwriting and the playwriting. I did a little bit of performance art too, but I liked I was less of the dude on the stage and more of the guy trying to make witty little lines and snappy comebacks.
Oh, cool. And then when did you first discover blockchain? Was it blockchain or crypto? Which came first?
I discovered Steemit and blogging. I have some, I don't always have the most favorable opinion of governments around the world. And I was putting some commentary on Facebook and they kicked me off no less than 5 times off that platform. And one of the people that was writing on Steemit wrote, hey, check this out. It's an immutable blockchain where your voice can't be silenced. And I think that was true up until this Steem Hive hard fork. So we abandoned Steem because it stopped living up to those principles. But the Hive blockchain is really a powerful tool that like, everybody can talk about freedom of speech, but it's really hard to guarantee it. And when you do social media posts on a blockchain, regardless of whether a front end, which is private, chooses to show it, your words are immutable on the back end of the blockchain, which is run on servers all over the world. Nobody can take that speech down. And so in terms of providing your personal liberty and guaranteed freedom of speech, I actually think blockchain is a spectacular tool. So that's how I got involved. And once I realized just how powerful a tool this was to spread peace, to make abundance, to support liberty, that's when I got kind of all in on this and then started working on projects and businesses and games, built a smart contract platform, built a couple other front ends for that. Like I'm as deep into this as I can be, just because I love it. And I feel like the technology as a whole is a really liberating thing. And our game, I think, is a fantastic use case and showcase of, you know, how can owning these digital assets help people? How do we build kind of a different economic model where the value isn't just resting solely in the one company, but is distributed to all the players and the people? And I don't know, I get really enthusiastic and passionate about what we're building, how we're building it, and what blockchain can do. I
understand that Splinterlands is the top blockchain gaming platform at the moment.
Yeah, let's see, we have 2-week-long seasons, and at the end of last season, we had something like 130,000 games played in a single day. We're up to, I think it's over 30 million now, maybe almost 40 million games total that have been played. You know, we had 6,800 or so unique accounts transacting with us on the same day. We did something like 500,000 or 600,000 transactions in the same day. The players have traded back and forth more than $1 million worth of cards just between each other. Forget buying or selling from us. That's what they've done. The market cap of the cards is like $4 million on the secondary market. There's a lot that's happening here. It's kind of shocking to a lot of folks because we're on like a lesser known chain. But
you're on a blogging platform on Hive,
yeah,
which is, I didn't realize that when I first started speaking with you. That's kind of weird, but it actually explain how it makes sense. The circles circled, if that's an expression.
Right. So we let's see. So Hive is a blockchain, just like a lot of blockchains. And one of the primary use cases is social media. What we did, there's not smart contracts on Hive, but you can post custom JSON, which is like a little post-it note on the blockchain. And we run a second server that reads all the data off of the blockchain, and that lets us interact and create this game. And basically, we built our own smart contracts of how this game would operate. And that's all on the layer 2. So we are built on a blockchain. We do have a blockchain game. And then what ends up happening is that there's this really virtuous cycle between the blogging platform that is Hive and our game, because players they'll go write a post, they'll explain their match, explain the strategy, make some fan art, whatever people blog about, you can go find something to blog about for the game. They'll post it. Either us as a company will upvote it, giving them anywhere from $1 to $10 for having written that. So there's lots of these like little micro blogging rewards, but other people in the community vote on their posts and they get paid. And it creates this wonderful circle where new content's getting created, it's getting spread all the time, the content creators are getting paid, more people are getting introduced to the game, and it creates this virtuous cycle of somebody posts, they make money, so they're earning and gaining, they're expanding into their audience and new players are coming, and then new people are playing the game and posting and spreading. And that it's this combination of the building on a fast blockchain that doesn't require you to own crypto first as part of that onboarding that we were talking about, and combining that with being able to earn while posting. It's just created like a really nice virtuous cycle and has helped us grow to the #1 game in the blockchain space. And depending on the day, we're ranked as the #1 DApp in the blockchain space. So we're quite proud of what we built. It's kind of weird how we got here from most people's perspectives, but once you get a lay of the land, it starts making a lot of sense that tying social media to the game just goes hand in hand.
Because there's a huge amount of people who actually spectate people gaming too as well. So it's that whole watching and learning. And is the game, excuse my ignorance here, is it a story-led? Are you constantly developing, or is it a interactive game? How would you describe it for a non-gamer?
It's a trading card game. So most of it is battling. We did write a book. We have a 230-page book that's describing the history and lore of the planet and the game system that we're building, because we want to tell engaging stories and we want there to be lore, because sometimes like people go nuts for the lore of these things too.
Yeah. Would you think you like another Game of Thrones waiting to be made there?
Yeah, I would think more of like a Pokemon series, like probably not serious live action, but some kind, or maybe Dragon Prince might be a good one, where I think of this as something animated, maybe not quite for kids, but definitely not like, I don't really want to get into like a, naked bodies everywhere kind of movie series or TV series. So, like dragons are cool, but
well, mind you, I always thought that Game of Thrones was all about politics. Actually, it wasn't the sex and it wasn't the dragons; it was pure politics. Power plays.
So that's a ton of it too. I just I built some stuff in the past that was a little bit of a naughtier nature. That was one of my former games that wasn't part of this, and I decided that my goal for this is to make it more wholesome and more just open to everybody, and maybe that makes it a little bit less adult themed, but I just want it to be like a family friendly game, because I'll open packs with my kids, right? My kids are pretty young here, and they'll sit on my lap and they'll go open up packs, and if there was somebody that was like really unclothed, or if it was like not totally appropriate, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that.
Of course.
And for me as a parent, it's a real joy to like, I opened up packs of Magic and that was just so much fun and it felt so good, and like I'm reliving that experience for myself, and I'm seeing the like, if you open up a legendary, the card starts shaking and there's noises and my kid starts like, so like, I want that experience to be possible for the whole family. So we're going to keep this one pretty clean and healthy. And like the main players are adults. They're probably in their 30s and 40s for the most part. We definitely have some younger people too, but I don't want to exclude their ability to go do this as a family-friendly thing.
You were mentioning before that sometimes those adults who are playing, they invest a lot of money into the game, onto their cards. What type of figures are we talking about?
Yeah, it's shocking. So normally people think of these kinds of games as just entertainment. And so maybe you'll spend $20 like you might on a movie. When I bought $300 worth of Hearthstone cards, I was thinking that's a lot, but whatever, it's fun and I'll play for hours. This is a little different because you own the assets, you own the cards, you own the stuff. And there are things that are tradable on a secondary market. So it's not quite an entertainment expense in the way that, because you actually have an asset that you own. When you're like done with a movie, you don't own a movie anymore. There's nothing to hold. Here, if you buy a card and you play a game, and even if you stop playing the game, you still own the card. So and these cards are limited and scarce and provably scarce, and the blockchain can show you how many exist, how many ever will exist, what the current prices are in the secondary market and all of that. So yeah, we've had people that'll spend more than, to make it into our top 10 players, you have to own more than $30,000 worth of cards. So
wow.
But
again, as you said, if they get tired of the game or they need to buy a car or whatever, they can trade out of them again anyway. So it's an asset. So just want to ask you.
Well, I want to add one more thing. So we also allow players to rent. So one of the like really frustrating parts of some of those trading card games is that players that don't have a lot of money are priced out and they can't participate. Even if they're the best player in the world, if you don't own thousands of dollars worth of cards, you can't play. But that's not the case here because we've built the system where you can rent cards. Now anybody could, one of my favorite articles that got posted was a story about a guy that rented, I don't know, 10 to 12 bucks worth of cards and was able to make it into the top 50. So to me, that's the kind of story that I want to see. He's a really good player, so I'm not sure that everybody could do that, but at least showing
in theory, you gave him the opportunity.
Yeah, you don't need to own $1 million worth of cards. You just need to be a good player and be willing to rent a little bit. And I think that gives us these kind of two groups of players, of those that are here to play and those that are here to sort of own an asset and be able to rent it and get a passive income. We get everybody here.
No, it's interesting. So tell me then, I was going to ask you, you're not stopping there now. You've other plans, haven't you? You've got other plans for other NFT platforms. What type of things are in the pipeline?
Well, so for the game Splinterlands in particular, the goal is to we're rolling out a land-based expansion, and so not everybody likes trading cards and battling games. Some people like things that are closer to The Sims or to Civilization or Clash of Clans, like empire building games. So that's what we're building. You'll buy land. On that land, you can place buildings. You'll put your monsters and summoners in those buildings to make them work and harvest the land and kill some monsters. And the result of all that is that we're adding new element to the game, which are items and spells. So right now there's just summoners and monsters, but you'll be able to equip items onto those monsters and kind of impact the battle rules with the spells. But we are not going to be selling the items and spells. The players will. So we'll sell the land and we'll let you build the buildings on it, but the players are going to be the people that actually construct all the items and spell cards in the game. And I think that's I geek out about it. I think it's a really fun model for how, eventually players don't just want to keep spending money with us. And I don't blame them for that, but maybe from each other, or if you have the ability to go mint cards in the game that get sold to the other players, I think that's a fascinating decentralized revenue case of how blockchain ecosystems can work. And so I'm stoked to pioneer that.
That's brilliant.
That's one of the big ones. We have like a guild tournament system coming, and we are going to look to make other games, both for this ecosystems and others. One really big reach would be, everything that we built around card collecting could be extended to other people's intellectual property. So you can buy with fiat, you can buy with crypto, you can open a pack, you can put your cards on the market, and you can manage your collection. That doesn't have to be our set of wizards, elves, sorcerers, whatever. That could be NFL players, that could be NBA players, that could be famous singers, that could be Marvel Avengers or Disney princesses. We could really extend what we've done to any other corporate intellectual property where they want to digitize, tokenize, and monetize that property. We can help them. So that to me is really exciting because, you know, at best, maybe a million people have seen our game. But if you look at any of those IPs that I mentioned or those corporations that I've mentioned, they have like hundreds of millions of followers. So if we could, just by getting one good partnership in place, I think that we could drag, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of people into crypto, not because they love crypto, but because they love Cersei Lannister and they really want to own the token for Cersei Lannister. Or maybe they hate her, but they hate her enough that they want to own her or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like Captain America or the Hulk or Wolverine. You know, these are kind of beloved characters that already exist out in this world. And if we could help them by collecting them as NFTs and digital collectibles, you know, they might not care about the blockchain stuff, but they probably care about, you know, Justin Timberlake. Anyways, it's just a way to go capture the attention of people that aren't already in crypto, drag them in here. And yes, come for Justin Timberlake, but stay for the life-changing crypto experience that will alter your very DNA. That's
a great line to end on. I'm not going to say any more. You nailed it. Thank you so much indeed for your time, Jesse. That was just a wonderful interview, and congratulations on the success of Splinterlands and the other programs coming forward.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking a moment with me, and glad to be here. And just, I love this space and can't wait to see more of what we build and what this community builds, because it's so creative and clever and lively. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.